What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well today. We are back on some MX bikes and I'm going to bring back the two strokes today. We are on the KTM 125 and I've just dragged it back over from the old Beta 17 bikes, so we haven't got any tyres or anything like that. It's going to be probably quite slippery. However, the track that we're playing today is Malmö or Malmö MX in Sweden, created by Anderson 198, and it's his very first track that he's created. This track, it looks like he created it about a year ago, but his PC just completely died. He was able to recover the files, but he just thought he'd put it out. It didn't seem like he could put a lot more work into it. And just on the surface, it looks perfect for the two strokes, which is exactly why I'm using that today. And it's very pretty as well. I like the colours that are used. I like the lighting involved as well. It looks quite like it's a very local type track where you got some flat bits, you got some hills over at the back, and it just looks like a hell of a lot of fun. I mean, the ruts look really nice and flowy. It's not too rough at all, so it should be fairly straightforwards. But let's hop into it and enjoy a little bit of two-stroke action again. All right, yo, guys, it's been a hot minute since I've ridden these damn bikes. It's up. Okay, take two. Do I actually have to jump all the way up and over this, or do I fall? Okay, there's one very specific area that I'm not allowed to fall into, which I didn't know about. So let's carry on again. Let's get going and see how this all goes. Oh god, it feels so weird listening to a two-stroke engine. It's just been four-stroke galore since Beta 18 dropped. I have seen a lot of people asking when the two-strokes are coming back into the game again, and to my knowledge, the dates remained unchanged. It's the 20th of February when they're going to be coming out. I mean, I didn't back up my files really, but when I was installing the Beta 18 OEMs in the first place, I just dragged all the two-strokes out and I've got them sat on my desktop so I can use them here or there. Unfortunately, if you do have them in your game currently, oh, that turns right, and I completely forgot I need to turn my speed and map back on. God damn it, I'm such an idiot doing these intros, I always forget to turn it back on again. There we go, right, all fixed. So, yeah, if you try joining any servers, if you move the two-strokes back into your game, you'll get like a data mismatch or bike unknown to server, just where they shouldn't be in there just yet. But I mean, if you're a person that does testing a lot, or maybe if you just save them all to your desktop, you can move them in and out as and when you need them, and that's kind of what I'll be doing now. I'm not sure how many two-stroke videos I'm going to make. As I say, if they're we only have to wait until the 20th of February, so literally 20 days from the point you've seen this video. It's really not long to wait, and I'm very excited for it. I'm interested to see what new weird and wonderful bikes we're going to be getting. I was quite surprised when the bikes that we do have already came out, and there's like 3 different TMs to work with. Apparently, are the e-bikes coming? I think the e-bikes are coming out at the same time as the two-strokes. I might need to double check that, but I believe that to be the case, in which case I'm hella excited for that, because I get to make some new content on, I know, well, I'm 90% sure that the Stark Varg is going to be in there, and then I'm not sure if they added it or not, but I saw some words floating around of adding the Sauron in there as well. So there'll be an Alta, a Stark Varg, a Sauron, and I'm hoping that the Stark Varg isn't going to be majorly OP compared to the Alta, because I'd love to see some e-bike races on this game as well. I feel that'd be quite cool. And where they've got their own kind of category now, they can't really be raced at the same time as like the other 450s and 250s. So they could do, but I imagine that they would be incredibly underpowered in comparison. I'm not sure why off the top of my head, but that's just me. And I feel like with the Varg, how it is in real life, if they're creating everything true to real life, then they'll have all the different mapping options, so it could feel like a 125, it could feel like a 450, and just all kinds of weird and wonderful stuff. I was actually looking at one point a few months back at buying one myself, and just pre-ordering one, but I just can't justify the cost of it. You know, they're about 10,000 British sterling, which I actually don't know the conversion rate right now. It's probably about $14,000 maybe. And I can't bring myself to press the button. You know, seeing that money leave your bank account's a very sad time. And then the other issue you've got is how eligible is it to race in different classes? Because it's got all these different engine sizes. I imagine you just have to race in an open class, maybe, if it was even allowed, or maybe there'd be a separate e-bike class at some point down the line. For me personally, it wouldn't matter too much, because I really don't race very often. I just do practice days here and there, which I hope will be coming soon. Don't worry, I mean, the weather in the UK has been slowly getting better. I mean, looking out my window right now, it's still bloody cold, but at least the sun is out. So, I mean, best of both worlds, I guess. I personally, I don't like it being super hot. I'm quite an overcast weather kind of guy, especially when it comes to riding. I hate just sitting there sweating my arse off. I do not have many fond memories of my my old schoolboy days of sitting on the line on like my 85 waiting to race, and somebody in the race before me crashes and get it red flagged. You need to get the ambulance and medics out there, and you just sat on the line in the heat of the summer, just sweating away in all of your gear. Not very fun times. But I do want to say that first impressions of this track, very nice so far. I'm glad that I hopped on the 125. I feel like it seems absolutely perfect for it. I do think that anything else higher than this would be a little bit overkill, so I imagine you'll see this track probably get a bit more popular when the Beta 18 OEM 2-strokes drop. As I said from the beginning, it's very pretty. I like it. It looks nice. I love the greens that have been used. I love the colour of the dirt decals as well, and it just seems to be a thing about Swedish tracks in this game that are like really good looking. I mean, Uddevalla looks great, but obviously that was made by JV. Everything he makes looks absolutely pristine. This one looks great too, and oh god, there was another one off the top of my head, Linkoping as well. I think that was also a JV creation. I mean, speaking of which, if we're speaking about JV tracks, that Qatar track that released the other day for the MX Bikes GP series, my god, does it look good. I do prefer the night version over the qualifying version. I feel like the qualifying version, it's a little bit difficult to make out the ground textures from one another sometimes, just where it is also like bright/dark at the same time. It's got that really like dusky early morning kind of vibe, but the nighttime one I think looks great. He's done such a good job with all the lighting and the textures, and it really excites me a lot for the rest of the season, because I am not a big outdoors guy. Like, I would probably 10 out of 10 times, if you used to ask me, do I want to do a Supercross race or a Nationals race, I would probably say Supercross. I don't know what it is, I prefer it. I like my rhythm sections and stuff rather than my ruts and my braking bumps. But I actually had a fairly fun time in that pre-season race. I got 3rd overall in 250s, which I was a bit disappointed by, especially since I could have had the overall for like 25 of the 30 minutes in Moto2, but I just completely threw it away at the end. Got some lovely Paboso front end stuff, and it just wasn't meant to be. So I think since I had such limited 250 practice, I should be happy with where I was, and hopefully I can only just get better from there. I was running completely stock Honda 250 setup, and for those of you wondering why I'm riding a 250 rather than a 450, I think it's a combination right now of the Beta 18 450s mixed with Paboso physics. I can't get a 450 around a track without my front end just being all over the place. I'm not sure what it is. I never struggled like this on any sort of bike or tracks before, but I'm hoping that there might be some updates to them bikes in the future, or at least an update to the game to make everything a bit more stable, because the biggest problem I'm facing right now is have I got my controller overlay on? I do not. Let me put my controller overlay on real quick. There we go. So if let me say I'm going around this right-hander, my left stick will be leaning to the right because that's how I turn. If I wheelie a tiny bit out of this corner, say I get a bit too much traction and I wheelie, even if I let go of the stick and it's facing straight, my bike will lock its handlebars in the opposite direction, trying to self-correct itself. That was a really few weird words to say. Self-correct itself. I don't think that's right, but it tries correcting itself anyway. But too much, and then you'll go too far to the other side, and then it'll try correcting itself back the other way, and you just get this weird, like, sharp left-right head wobble that even if your analog stick isn't moving. So I've asked if there's any way that can be worked on in the dev chat, and Paboso says he will try his best to get that sorted. I think there's a few other things in the works at the moment that I probably can't and shouldn't talk about, so I'm not going to. Sorry to leave you blue-balled a little bit, but things seem to be moving in the right direction, which I'm happy for. You know, any sort of updates this game gets right now, I'm more than appreciative of. I feel like they are 100% needed, especially with the way the game is growing. So I didn't check 450 sign-ups, but I did check 250 sign-ups about an hour before the track password came out for the Qatar race, the MXGP race, and there was 315 sign-ups just for EU 250s, which is insane. You know, that is, I think the game is the biggest it's ever been right now, and I think it's only going to continue growing. Like, you know, you get more and more people have started building YouTube channels off the back of this game and publicising it, and I'm always getting people commenting every now and then, like complete strangers to the channel, asking what game this is. So people are definitely interested in it. I can't imagine how big it would be if it was also a console game, but I also understand that that is never going to happen, just because of how this game functions on mods, and I imagine the copyright for using the actual bikes would be insane, the licensing would be all over the place. So I can see why it would never come out on console, unless you literally release everything as like a paid DLC, but that would be a bit crap in my opinion. I like right now that we've got a good mixture between paying for tracks and getting some good free tracks as well from the community, and I just think we are very blessed to have such a creative community too, because if we was just stuck on stock MX bikes with the free bikes that you get, by how many tracks you get, maybe 5 to 10 tracks in total, I imagine people probably wouldn't have so many people wouldn't have the 1,000+ hours that they do. I know I personally would not be able to play this game day in and day out if that was the case. I'd be looking for other avenues of entertainment. I might even find myself gravitating back towards Sim. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll do that as well. It all depends how the games develop. I've been lucky enough to dabble in a little bit of Monster Energy Supercross 6. There should be a video coming up on that in about a week or so. There's currently an embargo, or let's just say a ban, on any gameplay being put up on it until a certain time. And whilst I think the game is very enjoyable from an arcadey standpoint, I think in terms of the real die-hard motocross fans that like their MX bikes and their MX simulators, I just don't think it holds a candle to it. There's obviously a place for them games, 100%. You know, the console players will enjoy it. People that are just after a much more arcadey experience will really enjoy it too. But I know players that are in the same kind of area as myself that really enjoy their sims and their realism. I think we'll probably end up sticking to this stuff. So I don't think MX Bikes is going anywhere anytime soon. Track They Are is on the come up. You saw my video yesterday on it. I really am enjoying what they've done with the game so far. I think it's in a very solid place, and now I think they just need to start working on some of the more fine-tuned bits, you know, like get a different rider model so it doesn't look so lanky, a little bit more on the body positioning, an audio slider and stuff would be amazing. I would love to be able to change my audio in game, because currently it's set to like max out, and you can change your opponent's engine audio, but you can't change any of your own. So I have to actually go into my sound mixer on my PC and turn it down to like 5% to be able to hear myself think. But they're making such good progress, and I'm so happy that we're getting just more games that are actually viable. Because there was this massive gap where if you weren't a PC MX Sim player, you was either a PC or a console MX vs ATV Reflex player, and there was nothing really else to kind of scratch those itches. So I feel very lucky to be in the position I'm in, and I sit there now and then, and obviously I've got a special email for like inquiries and stuff, which is how like these people reach out to me for getting to have like access to different versions of MX vs ATV Legends and being able to play MESX6 early. And it's so weird because I sit there sometimes and I just still think of myself as any average like player. It just feels weird to me sometimes where people approach me, and I guess they kind of put you up on this like pedestal almost, but I don't see it that way. I mean, there's a group of guys that I used to race with in real life when I was younger, in the old 85 days. All used to be part of the East Kent Scramble Club in the UK, but obviously I don't think I ever spoke to them. But you know the people you race with, like you see their names in the program every week. You know who's who. And they've started playing this game as well, and they're more closer friends with Charlie, but I've also been in calls with them, and it's just weird that I've got this sort of status in this game, but I am still just a normal person. I just like sometimes the special treatment is lovely. Sometimes, you know, if I happen to lag out of a race or something, you'll find people would restart for me and stuff that you just wouldn't get if you was a normal player. But at the same time, I hate getting all of the weird and the wonderful questions all the time, or if you join a server you get people targeting you, and it is what it is. I think there's definitely pros and cons to it, in the same way that there are a hell of a lot of pros and very few cons to this track. I mean, the road looks lovely. I've got it set to 0.7, so it's not even that deep, but you can see that it's working its way in nicely. I'm already on lap 11. I didn't realise I'd spun that many laps. So lit. I suppose it's only a 1 minute 16-ish second lap time. I don't know if I've had any laps that have been particularly amazing. I feel like I'm just riding around at a nice, smooth, consistent pace. I think a 125 race around this track would be really fun, and you can tell how much I've been riding the 4-strokes, because the amount of times I'm coming out of some of these corners or going up some of the uphills and I'm in completely the wrong gear and just bogging all over the place, where a 450 or 250 would be absolutely fine and just pull me all the way up. You can tell that I've kind of shied away from them for some time, but I am hella excited to get them back. I think that'll be good fun. It gives some more series a chance to start again, like the European Masters. It's a 125 only series which has been put on hold for the time being. I can't think of many other 2-stroke only series off the top of my head, but I do enjoy me a good old 125 race. I know a bunch of other people do as well. I think that the MS series is probably like the second most signed up for series outside of the main ones like Aerial and MX Bikes GP. I'm not even sure what umbrella that falls under. I don't think it's the same as Aerial at all. This track is actually really fun, and for a first track as well, really good stuff. I'm not sure what else he could have added to it really. He speaks about not being able to make many changes after he recovered the files, but I'm not 100% sure what else it would need. Honestly, the worst thing that I can see on this entire track is, one, obviously falling down this hole right here, but that's because of the models that have been used. It's not like a model that you can actually ride on top of, you just fall through. And then secondly, which I'm sure nobody else has spotted, is gate 40 seems to be a bit of an interesting one. You know, I'm not too sure you'll be pulling many hole shots from here. If you do, you're doing something right out of the gate. But other than that, it's nice. It's super pretty. The road seems to be forming really nicely. The layout's good. Definitely a 2-stroke track. I would not advise going on anything bigger. I can't imagine trying to lug a heavy 450 around here. But I'm really happy with it, and it's always nice to have an excuse to go back to the old bikes, because oh god, I'm having so many issues with my front end. The 250 definitely helps things a hell of a lot. I do find them a lot easier to ride. They have a hell of a lot more grip as well. Although I would probably only say that from a Nationals perspective, that I prefer them. I definitely enjoy my 450s in Supercross just because of how easy it is to roll on the throttle out of a corner and hit a triple. But I'll get there eventually. I feel like I always used to be a really fast learner, but as I'm getting older, I mean, I'm 27 now, I'm getting on a bit. I'm closer to 30 than I am to... Actually, no, does that count? Closer to 30 than I am 25? I mean, I'm kind of slap bang in the middle, if I'm honest. You meant to round up anyway, it's fine. I'm closer to 30, let's just pretend. But yeah, I feel like it takes me a little bit longer than some of the young guys now to fully grasp what I'm doing, especially since I'm not like a setup magician at all, and I do run stock for the most part. I've got a Supercross one that I just kind of fell into by blind luck that I just copy across onto everything. That's probably half my dramas. I'm trying to use a Supercross setup that works through like whoops and flat corners and stuff on really bumpy, rough, like super deep ride Nationals tracks. Probably why my front end is tucking all over the place. I'll figure it out eventually. Excited for the season to start. I think it starts on the 27th of February. So we get the new 2-strokes on the 20th. We get the MX Bikes GP series starts off for round 1 on the 27th. And other than that, we've just got the Aerial Supercross every Friday. We do have 250 East Coast starting this Friday as well. So hopefully I remember to record that and I can upload it for you guys to watch. It will just be raw. I don't think I'll go back and commentate over it after the fact, unless anything like weird and wonderful happens, but we'll see. I have noticed the older I get as well, the more and more I struggle playing well that early in the morning, because these races, they happen anywhere between like 2 to 5 AM for me, depending on how smoothly the night's going, and my eyes just get squintier and squintier as the night goes on. I feel like my thumbs get detached from my brain and they don't work properly, but I still enjoy it. You know, it's good fun. At the end of the day, even if I don't like win or do as well as I want to do, it's still decent practice putting yourself in race scenarios and getting out there with quite a few fast guys as well. I always feel like, I mean, it's never used to be the case. I always used to be pretty good in qualifying. I mean, years gone past, but the standard of the game has got so much quicker now with people putting so much more time into it. I mean, if we take the Triple Crown for example, in EU, I think I qualified 8th, and really 8th place or so seems to be on average where I'm qualifying these days. But in the mains, well, I mean, Triple Crown was a little bit different. If in terms of overalls, we should say, in mains, I've not finished outside the top 3. I went 3-3-2 at the first 3 rounds. So qualifying 8th and not finishing worse than the 3rd, I mean, I'll take it. That to me shows that my race pace is better than like people's qualifying paces. So happy days. I'm going to end it there. I feel like this is I've spun enough laps already. I'm on lap 15. I just flown by. It's a really, really fun track. Well done, Anderson. This is really good for a first release, and I hope to see some more of you from the future. Seems like you've got a bit of a knack for this kind of thing. Keep the Swedish tracks coming. I always seem to enjoy them. I really enjoy Linkoping. I really like Uddevalla, and now Malmö is right up there as well. Really enjoyable stuff. If you guys have enjoyed the video, if I could do the typical YouTuber thing and ask you to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, I would really, really appreciate it, and hoping to meet them 2023 goals of 75,000 subs by the end of the year. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you guys are up to, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.